Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're diving into the horror movie Longlegs. The film centers around a highly gifted FBI agent named Lee who is assigned to investigate a chilling unsolved case. The case involves a mysterious man responsible for brutally killing multiple people. As Lee digs deeper into the investigation, she discovers that this case is not just any ordinary one. It has a deep personal connection to her own life. The big question is, will Lee be able to catch this ruthless killer before more lives are lost? Stay tuned till the end of the video to find out. The movie opens with a young Lee sitting quietly in her home. She notices a suspicious car parked outside, but when she steps out to investigate, the car is empty. Suddenly, she hears strange noises behind her and encounters a terrifying figure, setting the eerie and unsettling tone for the film. This haunting introduction perfectly sets the stage for the intense story that follows. The scene then shifts to an adult Lee, now a dedicated FBI agent working with a team of colleagues. In a briefing room, their boss instructs the team about the dangerous suspect they are hunting. He stresses the importance of caution and alertness because this case is unlike any other. Lee partners with another agent named Fisk, and together they begin their investigation by visiting the neighborhoods and questioning families about the suspect. At one point, Lee senses someone watching her outside a house. Fisk checks the house, but is suddenly attacked and killed by an unknown assailant inside. Lee is shocked and worried, but bravely enters the house to investigate further. There she finds a man sitting quietly, whom she insists stays put until she can get back up and then arrests him. This intense scene adds to the suspense and shows Lee's courage in the face of danger. After this, Lee undergoes a mental test where she is asked to guess numbers between 0 and 100. She correctly guesses the number 8 times in a row, impressing Carter, one of her senior colleagues. Carter then shares some background about the case. For years, fathers in different families have been murdering their own families, always leaving behind mysterious letters signed with the name Longlegs. Despite decades passing, the authorities have never been able to identify who or what is behind these killings. Later, Carter calls Lee to his office to talk about an incident involving Fisk's death. He questions how Lee was so sure about the suspect's car. Lee admits that she just had a strong intuition. Together, they review the evidence and notice a strange pattern. The child in every victimized family had a birthday on the 14th of a month. Carter hands Lee a file and urges her to focus on this detail. Lee spends countless hours going over the evidence, laying everything out on the floor and carefully connecting the dots. She becomes so absorbed in the case that she falls asleep amid the papers. Carter wakes her up, and they continue discussing their findings. They realize there was no forced entry in any of the cases, and forensic experts confirmed that the killer was never physically seen entering the houses. This revelation deepens the mystery and raises more questions about how the murders were carried out. The killings were all carried out using guns registered in the names of the victims' own fathers. Out of all these cases, 8 involved the use of a kitchen knife, and 1 was done with a hammer. But what's most disturbing is the eerie feeling that Longlegs, the mysterious killer, was never actually present at the crime scenes. The big question that remains is, how is Longlegs managing to commit these murders without being physically seen? After discussing this, Carter instructs Lee to leave for the day. However, Carter was drunk at that moment, so Lee decides to take him home safely. When they reach Carter's house, he insists that Lee come inside to meet his wife. Despite her hesitation, Lee agrees and steps inside. Once inside, Carter introduces Lee to his wife and their daughter Ruby. Ruby warmly shows Lee her room, and the two sit together comfortably. Ruby then asks Lee if being a lady FBI agent is tough. Lee nods and agrees it is. Just then, Ruby's mother enters the room, reminding Ruby that it's late and she should go to bed. But before Ruby leaves, she asks her mother if Lee could come to her birthday party. Ruby's mother turns to Lee to ask, and Lee politely agrees that she will try to come. After leaving Carter's house, Lee goes back to her own home. A little while later, she calls her mother and tells her that she's having trouble sleeping due to work stress. Suddenly, Lee hears a strange noise, and she tells her mother that she will call back shortly. Then someone begins banging loudly on Lee's front door. She quickly bolts the door, switches on the porch light, and looks outside, spotting a suspicious figure. Grabbing her weapon, she cautiously steps outside, but soon realizes someone has already entered her house. Hurrying back inside, Lee thoroughly checks every room. On her table, she finds a letter addressed to her with a note that says, "Do not open until January 14th. Despite the warning, Lee opens the letter and finds a birthday card inside. The card is from Longlegs. Chillingly, her name is written on the back of the card. Curious and disturbed, Lee begins decoding the message printed on the card. She starts writing down what she uncovers, but as she reads it, her expression turns upset and disturbed. Just then, her phone rings. On the other end, someone tells her that Carter has called for her. When Lee arrives at the scene, Carter tells her that once again, Longlegs has struck, and they are late in responding to the latest family murder. They then move to a bedroom, where an agent informs them that about a month has passed since this family was killed. Later, Lee calls her mother to warn her that she will be busy and may not have time to call again soon. Her mother asks if Lee will come to Ruby's birthday party, to which Lee responds that she will try. The call ends. Lee then dives into researching the case again. She analyzes all the data related to the victims, searching for new clues. She shares her findings with Carter, explaining a pattern she's noticed. Lee suspects that Longlegs will become active again within the next 3 days. Deciding to act, Carter and Lee agree to investigate an old farmhouse linked to previous victims. Upon arriving, they find numerous crosses marked on the property. Following these crosses, they reach a large cross buried in the ground. Carter begins digging and discovers a box hidden beneath. Opening the box, they find a creepy doll inside. They take it to the forensic lab, where a doctor examines it. The doctor explains that the doll is intricately crafted and that inside its head is a small ball emitting a strange frequency. Using special equipment, the doctor listens to the frequency and starts recognizing some sounds. Meanwhile, a scene shows Longlegs standing beside someone, covering the person's head with a cloth. Afterwards, Longlegs is seen going to a store to buy supplies. At the store, Longlegs asks the cashier when her birthday is, but she doesn't respond. The story then shows Carter and Lee visiting a woman named Carrie. The doctor informs them that Carrie has been in the facility for 8 years, but hasn't responded to anyone. Recently, however, a visitor came who caused her to react, though Carrie never saw the visitor since he waited outside. Checking the visitor register, Lee finds her name written there. She asks the doctor if the ID checks are verified, but the doctor refuses to answer. Lee then goes to meet Carrie. Carrie tells Lee she feels like she's seen her before, but Lee denies this. Lee asks Carrie if she remembers anything about her parents. Carrie was sitting outside looking through the window. Lee asks her if she wants to know about the man who had come to meet Carrie the previous day. Hearing this, Carrie says she will never forget that man. Then Lee asks Carrie if she remembers that her parents had a doll just like Carrie, but Carrie denies it. Next, we see Longlegs sitting strangely in his room. The scene then shifts to Carter, who tells Lee that Longlegs had wiped out a family back in 1975 and has become active again after almost 20 years. He directly went to meet the only survivor, Carrie, mentioning Lee's name to find her. After Longlegs' arrival, Carrie starts recovering. Lee then says maybe they are missing something. Carter says ever since Lee joined the investigation, the pace has picked up, but he wonders how Longlegs knows Lee's name. Lee says she doesn't know. Carter tells Lee that Lee's mother had called him and mentioned that Lee's birthday is also on the 14th. She gave a description of the trace passer as tall and pale. Carter asks if Lee remembers such a person, but she says no. Since she doesn't know, Carter suggests Lee meet her mother to find out more about the trespasser. When Lee goes to meet her mother asks if she prays, but Lee refuses. Her mother then laughs like a madwoman. Lee cooks for her mother and notices her mother's medicines in the kitchen. Later, Lee notices death, implying something ominous. And when she goes near a room, her mother calls her. Lee asks her mother about her 9th birthday, but her mother refuses to answer. Lee insists, but her mother still says no. Lee says her mother had called the police to report the trespasser, but her mother replies that all Lee's belongings are still in her room. Later, Lee goes to her room and notices a chest. She takes it home, and after opening it, finds many photos. When she looks at one photo, she suddenly remembers something and, frightened, throws all the photos away. Lee then meets Carter and shows him a photo of Longlegs, telling him that she found the photo at home. The scene shifts to Longlegs standing at a bus stop, surrounded by police cars. He is captured and his statement is recorded. In a video recording, Longlegs says he wants to meet Lee, but then starts singing "Happy Birthday" for 24 minutes. After pausing the video, Carter and Browning talk to Lee, saying that since Longlegs is in custody, he can't do anything. But Lee suspects Longlegs isn't alone and has an accomplice. Later, Lee visits Longlegs and learns that he has been watching her closely. She asks about his accomplice, and Longlegs starts telling the truth. Lee says now he can't do anything because he will stay in custody for life, but Longlegs replies that he will be everywhere, little by little. Then Longlegs hits his head and kills himself, which scares Lee. Carter comes to Lee and says they won't find out anything else now. Later, he says Carrie took her own life, and when Longlegs went to meet Carrie, he must have told her to do so. After that, Browning takes Lee to her home because Lee's mother was to be questioned. Lee goes inside while Browning waits outside. Lee's mother approaches Browning and kills her. Lee witnesses this from inside and runs outside, asking her mother to stop. Her mother stands near a doll that looks exactly like Lee and then blows its head off. Black smoke comes out of Lee's head and she falls. The past is then shown. Longlegs was a doll maker who made dolls and gave them to children. He instructed the children on what to do and what not to do. To save Lee, her mother had to support Longlegs. Lee comes to and hears the phone ringing. When she answers, someone says something to her, and she drives off wildly to Ruby's house. She knocks on the door quickly, and Carter says she arrived just in time. Ruby reveals herself, but she is a doll, and Lee's mother is sitting in front of her. Lee says this is Longlegs' accomplice, but Carter angrily tells her to sit down. Carter calls his wife to the kitchen, but soon a noise comes from the kitchen. It seems that Carter had already killed his wife and comes out, about to kill Ruby, but Lee defends and ends up killing Carter instead. Lee's mother then tries to attack Lee, but unwillingly, Lee has to kill her too. After that, Lee tells Ruby to come with her, and the movie ends here. The movie may feel slow to some people, but the twists that come toward the end are quite good. Nicholas Skek did a great job playing the role of Longlegs, so that was the explanation of the movie Longlegs. If you like this movie explanation, please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification to get notified as soon as the next video comes out.